Hey there. I just went to an imaging center and I was supposed to have an MRI scan where they shove you in this machine, put these headphones on you and slide you into this coffin. And because of my incident with Hogwarts, when I went on the Harry Potter ride and they shut that thing down on me. Also, I was arrested unfairly once for having basically a pop gun prop in a music video that I was doing. And the police came with a SWAT team and nearly fucking shot me dead. Had to go to court and everything about it. It was ridiculous. Anyway, during the arrest, after they took me into the police station, they put me in this fucking dock, which is about this wide and about this wide. And there's a glass thing there with a door. And I was like, oh fucking hell. I was already shaken up by being, face down and having my ass fucking examined by the cops and everything to see if I was hiding drugs or bullets or whatever the fuck they thought I was, I was dressed like a terrorist and it freaked people out upstairs in the building. They thought they were going to be all shot dead and stuff, even though it was right at a fucking filming place. But anyway, that kind of thing has made me very claustrophobic now. I just really didn't like being in that MRI machine, so I jumped off the table and said, look, sorry, see you later. And they said, all right, go and do the, it'll take a few months to book it, but you can be sedated because my back's fucked. Okay, so this hairpiece is now getting to a point where the front hairline looks absolutely awful. Have a look at this. What is going on with that line? I don't like it. I also don't like how much I've bleached this blonde as well. It's too much. I added way too much bleach at the front. But this front line is just so thick. It's like, I don't know, did they use thicker plastic there? I don't know what it is. Did I put too much glue around the surface? It just must be the way the hairs are coming out or something. I don't know. It's creating a very, very stark line right there. And there doesn't seem to be much I can do about it. So once again, before the 5-week mark, I'm going to chuck that out and take a new one out of this box. So I've been wearing that for, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks. But yeah, it's starting to look terrible at the front. And it doesn't seem to be to do with the dirt. It seems to be to do with the plastic or something, or maybe the direction that the hairs are tied in at that point. That cut could have come from the center of the original hairpiece, which means that the hairs are kind of all just really kind of just coming straight out in all directions right there like that. So those center hair pieces that I cut out of the wig, right, that you get normal size hairpiece, the ones in the middle are always the worst. Like I say, I could order a custom just rectangle of hair, so I could just make it exact, all the hairs flowing in one direction. But like I say, it just takes 8 weeks to deliver, and they've got to make it, especially for you. Whereas the stock ones are just sitting on the shelf and they just send it to you. I don't know what the price difference is. Yeah, so I did take it off the other day. That's why my stubble isn't too bad. So I'm not even going to bother shaving. I'm just going to put a new one on just as quickly as I can right now because I've got to go out. There's a bit of a line of dirt along there. Baby wipes. The good thing about poly hairpieces is that really the glue really stays on the hairpiece itself and not so much on the scalp. It's the middle of winter, so I haven't had any problems with sweating. The problem with the glue melting and the sweat is it's a double whammy. In summertime, the sweat makes the whole thing disconnect from your scalp, or at least weaken, and then the melting glue makes the whole thing just kind of want to sort of peel off a bit. But at least Walker Tape Ultra Hold, the glue that I use, can be reaffixed without any real effort, so long as the sweat hasn't salted the glue to a point of absolute weakness. Yeah, so when I cut my hair the other day, I cut these bits too short as well. So I'm getting a bit of gappage without a nice way to overhang. And the other thing is, I felt like the that's the old stencil, that's the new stencil. It had sharp edges, which I found were very pointy and just wanted to peel off, so I rounded them, and then that's made it a quite inaccurate kind of bend there, which doesn't look quite right. I have people talking about balding on the sides. Are you talking about this bit here? Do you think that when I was younger, my hair came in further there? Because I don't think that it really did. It might have. Like, do you think it came like that a bit? I don't know, maybe it did. I don't notice, so that could be a reason that people think it doesn't look as good as it could. So this is a very blonde at the front new hairpiece. I'm just gonna wet that. And shake it off, shake it off, oh, 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 oh. And place this on a towel so the underside is dry up. I'll have time to dry because I need to put glue on and wait 15 minutes. Anyway, just want to clean any residue off. I don't know why I think alcohol cleans it. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking it will counteract whatever chemicals might be in this lightly scented baby wipe instead of using soap and water. But as I say, it's more about heat with glue than anything else. If you do put your little finger up here to try and hold those hairs back, it's better, I think. I usually don't bother, but I probably should, because at the end I've always got to comb out the glue from those back edge hairs, which is a bit time consuming and leaves the areas you've just combed out glueless. So, like a colouring book, you paint around the perimeter first, and it makes everything else. And the other thing is I've noticed is if you leave a thick layer of glue at the back, there's a lump there. It doesn't go down nice and smoothly for a nice transition between your natural hair. You don't want a lump of glue there, and it's very easy to accidentally do that. So try to get that smoothed down along this back perimeter here, and hopefully you can get it thin with a sufficient amount of glue. And also far enough back. I'm actually relieved I didn't go in that machine. The nightmares would haunt me. I mean, I'm still trying to get over that Hogwarts ride in Disneyland. Sorry, no, Universal Studios. The Harry Potter ride. I was freaking out. I just couldn't live through that again. So if they sedate me, I think it will definitely be okay because I will be asleep. How much reassurance do you think you'd have if you were buried in a coffin, but you had somebody through a little speaker saying, "It'll be okay, don't worry," or there's music in your headphones? Of course, you can't lift your arms to your ears to remove the headphones ever. I didn't avoid putting that here underneath that layer of glue. Do you think it would cheer you up? Well, I'd have to isolate those two examples, all right? So your first example is you've got people who are talking to you and saying, "It's gonna be okay, just bear with us, we're gonna get you out. We're gonna get you out of there." And you're in this coffin, right? You don't need to go to the toilet, you're not hungry, you're just in a coffin. They accidentally buried you alive because they thought you were dead, but you're just in a coma, or something in your heart had stopped at the moment they decided to use the stethoscope. For that few brief moments, or the doctor was incompetent, or the stethoscope didn't work, and you just didn't seem to be breathing or anything. It was a very light breath that made your chest not rise and fall very big, very high. So they buried you alive, okay? But then after the burial, somebody came to visit the grave, your grave maybe, or somebody else's grave beside your grave, and they heard screaming. That was your last little, you know, because you'd been in there for, I don't know, 14 hours or something. And the dirt hadn't even got the grass put back over it yet, properly. Or if it was just lumped, it was just a faint underground kind of stirring that somebody noticed. Because they were young and had good hearing. But nobody believed them, of course. So there was a 6-hour delay between the moment somebody said, no, there was definitely somebody down there. "Darling, I'm going to take you back to the psychiatrist, okay?" "No, Mum, we have to go back and look underneath the ground to see if the person's alive." And they go back 6 hours later, and you're not screaming anymore. You've run out of voice. And they're not going to stand around at the cemetery going, "Hello, is there somebody still alive down there?" People just don't do that. Or they just shrug and go, "Too late." But there's still enough air coming in, just enough to keep you alive, so and they're just walking away and you go, with the coughing, with all your might, your last ounce of sort of strength. You're just tired and exhausted from all the panicking and frustration. Your arms are like this by your side, right? That's how much width you've got. For eternity. So my question is, would it give you some comfort if somebody said, "Don't worry, we're coming to help you," right? I'd say it'd give you some comfort. You'd still be freaking out though. The thing is, I wouldn't want to be in that situation either. So that's why I stepped out of that MRI machine. The MRI machine is like this wide, right? And you get pushed in on a table. Your whole body's in a coffin. You can't. You got like that much space. Don't even think about moving your arms inside. They hit the walls. You go, oh, fuck it. And you think, oh, that's a nice amount of space for a human being, right? But then they lift the table up, so your head's now pressed like your nose is this far from the roof. Well, they scan you, which is way after the ear protection with the music. They give you a little beeper, just in case you panic. Because they know people panic. They must panic often. That was like a part of it. The panic button. You wouldn't want to drop that somewhere, would you? Like you're panicking. You're not allowed to move. A lot of series of questions about any metal stents, like freaking surgeries, even lead in tattoos can cause burning with that machine. The magnets, it would just like, if you had any shrapnel inside you from a wound, from a bullet or sort of building work injury or something that went in your eye or something, it will go straight out the side of your skull into this powerful magnet. So I want to be sedated, but it has to be x-rayed as well, because I don't know what the fuck toys I fucking swallowed as a kid. Just haven't been pooped out yet. Could be a couple of Matchbox cars down there somewhere. I don't know. And they go, just come out of me. Yeah, this is a bit of a pain in the ass that I fucked up all that bit there, see? Messy. So you don't want to put the comb through while it's like that, because it'll just make a spaghetti mess, right? Mozzarella cheese mess. So you wait for this to dry, and through the power of magic, I'll be right back. Now, I'm back, and this has become tacky and no longer mozzarella-y, which is what we want. But I did get some of these hairs glued on because they was not perfect. And that one, dig that out a bit. I'm probably gonna leave that there. But predominantly, I don't have too many lumps of glue around the perimeter because I was a bit careful, but clearly not careful enough. So I've got to work on that skill. So that's the old one I took off. Still damp, dry underside because it's been sitting on a towel. So I parted in the middle so I have some clue as to where to place the middle down, but it's never quite exact enough. So I still have a problem with the placement, as you're about to see. This is alcohol spray. There's some curling going on at the back here. That will create a problem along the back perimeter. That's the front hairline. The curling also indicates that that area has had its hairs cut off. So there could be like 0.5 millimeter of hairlessness up around the back area of this hairpiece as well. It looks predominantly like it's landed in the middle. I probably waited a bit too long to place this down after the alcohol was sprayed. Does that look like it's a huge gap there? Feels like there's one. Also, by the looks of things, I didn't really wait long enough for this glue to dry. But it doesn't entirely matter with poly. You can put it on when it's wet, so long as you just allow for that extra drying time without moving it. Just make sure there are no hairs coming out of the comb. Okay, so I've waited too long again for the alcohol, which will have dried by now. And this hairpiece, as you can see, is starting to get really frayed a lot. So I'm just gonna spray a little bit of watery mist onto this just to try to keep those hairs bound together. Okay, alcohol again. Okay, so I give them more alcohol spray, gives me a little bit extra time. So you see how it slides around now? Nice and easy. We don't want to overhang, but we don't want a gap either. If you've got it perfect, you should be able to seamlessly run your hair from the front to the back of your head without feeling any bump whatsoever. And back from the back to the front as well. But that only happens for me on about 1 out of every 20 hair pieces because the accuracy is difficult. It would be even harder if this hairline were further back. I'd definitely need to install an extra mirror to see the back of my own head in that situation. If you have somebody who can help you do this, then obviously somebody who's confident, not some moron. I don't know what to do. Oh, I don't know what to do. Well, it's definitely easier for them, even if they've never done it before, than it is for you to aim when they can see what's right in front of their eyes. Because for most of us, well, nearly everyone, the hairpiece perimeter is where your eyeballs cannot see without some sort of camera or mirror system. And if you do use a camera and a screen, then it's going to be difficult for you to get your head around the kind of reversing of it, because normally you're used to looking at where your hands are, not where a screen tells you they are. So I'm not sure how bad that gap is back there. I really don't want to have to keep putting this off and on again. The alcohol's dried. Looks like there's some overhang there. Let's see what happens. So just as always, I never glue the front until last because I want it to land exactly on the spot where it's going to finish. So it's always done in 2 stages like this. You glue the scalp, then place down the poly. Then you glue the poly at the front so that it is completely accurate. This is a difficult part now because I need to make sure that I do not put any glue into the hairs. So it takes some pretty careful aiming here because I'm just trying to get that right up onto the edge there with the brush. But the brush is obviously not the ultimate tool for accuracy. And you can see some corrugation along the front edge of that plastic there. So you've got to flatten that out as you paint along. It's interesting the word paint as a verb like that, because I'm not painting, am I? None of this has anything to do with paint. Perhaps the term glue as a verb would be more apt. But I'm trying to avoid using that word as a verb because it might confuse you when I use it as a noun so often. Instead of saying I'm gluing the glue, and it would be also strange to say I'm brushing, not just because I'm afraid that you'll get that confused with a hairbrush and the process of brushing hair as opposed to brushing a hairpiece. Because I wouldn't generally say I'm brushing my hair with a brush, I'd just say I'm brushing my hair. In the same way I wouldn't say I'm brushing my hairpiece with glue. Nevertheless I am, because this is undoubtedly a brush. This side of my head is a bit more difficult because I'm not ambidextrous. Make sure I don't miss any of that over that side edge. And you also want to make sure you don't have sparse glue around the edges as well. And also not too thick either. It has to be just enough. There's a threshold. Most mathematical responses are a range, and sometimes an equation, or sometimes just a logical statement. If this, then this. But if this, then this. So one word answers are commonly used when people try to get a direct answer out of you. But the answer truly is not a single digit. That's the mistake people make because they've studied basic maths and they think, okay, well, equation on one side equals single answer on the other. But an advanced equation or a more common equation would result in a range being on the other side of that equal sign. So I'd say a micron, as far as I understand, is a micrometer, as in one, I don't know, because a millimeter is 1,000th of a meter already. Milli. Micro. What is that? It's like 1/10,000th? So like 1/10 of a millimeter? Or is it smaller? I can't remember. I'd say let's just say it's 1/10 of a millimeter. You want 2 1/10 of a millimeter, or to 3 1/millionths of a millimeter. 1/10 of a millimeter. Let's just say 4 microns. Between 2 and 4 microns is acceptable, 5 is too thick, a millimeter is definitely too thick, okay? Because a millimeter is quite a lot. If you look at a centimeter, which is about the distance between my fingertip, that gap there, it's about a centimeter, maybe, okay? 1/10 of that, it's like a millimeter. Nah, I'm doing it wrong. Here we go. Yeah, I was way wrong. Okay, so between there and there, that's a centimeter. So 50% of that is there. And then 1/5 of that is about there. Millimeter, and then 2 microns. So obviously that much glue underneath this, which is 0.03 millimeters thick, apparently that's 0.03 millimeters thick. I don't know if I believe it. To me, I think they've just written it incorrectly on all their signage. 0.03 millimeters, that's ultra thin. Look, that's a brand new one without any glue on it. Do you really think that that is 0.03 of a millimeter, like 3/100ths of a millimeter? I would be happy to say it's 3/10ths of a millimeter, like 0.3 millimeters, but 0.03 millimeters, that sounds like it's an exaggeration. I guess if you use a caliper to just like squeeze and go, okay, that's the measurement there, it might squeeze into the plastic and just depress it so that the plastic's squeezing out on each side, and so you can squeeze it as hard as you want, right? But unless you're using some sort of laser detection device, no caliper is going to give you a reading of 0.03 millimeters, not a standard one that I've seen. So potentially it's 0.3 millimeters, not 0.03 like they claim. I mean, some of the marketing that they use on these hairpieces and stuff are not exactly accurate. This was considered to be medium light density, but I know what medium light density looks like. Medium light density allows you to see right through into the scalp at all times, especially if you did that. Whereas this still gives you some sort of coverage, right? That's medium density as far as I'm concerned, and it's marketed as medium light density because people seem to think that medium light density is the most realistic, and it probably is. But you're thinning if your whole head is medium light density. My hair here, right? Fucking idiot. My hair thickness around the back and sides is probably medium density, I'd say. I'd have to be Greek to have any thicker than what I got. Also, I was redhead when I was a kid. That's gone auburn now. Even looks like enough like dark brown that I can order medium dark brown. That's what this hairpiece color is, except along the front where I've bleached it. And I'd say it's a fair match, really, in terms of thickness of the density there. So realistically, I'd say that probably 0.3 millimeters, not 0.03 millimeters, in terms of the base thickness, despite the advertising. I mean, legally, if they've told you it's 0.03 and you get a caliper or some machine out and measure it and say, no, I want a refund, they'd be obliged to give you one. But not if you've stuck it to your head. Too late. But there is no company making anything thinner, except unless you go 0.02, is what they claim, right? I just can't imagine. I'm trying to think of something that would be 0.02 millimeters thick. maybe it would have to be like Bible paper, rice paper or something, you know? I think the sort of paper you have in your printer, don't they use that by GSM or something? I don't know what that stands for. To do with thickness. So I don't see microns of thickness written on the outside paper. But Bible paper, right? You know how thin that is because it's such a thick amount of words. If they did that with A4 sort of standard thickness paper, you know, international paper that everyone uses, which is this big. I now declare, I now pronounce this day, Marge Simpson Day, in the town of Springfield. That thickness is probably thinner. It's probably thinner than the hairpiece plastic. Yes, it's thin. It is thin, but which I'm very happy with it. Don't get me wrong. And you lose durability the thinner you go, assuredly, unless you use some majorly breakthrough type of new plastic, and it gets ultra stretchy and stuff. Just trying to decide whether I should paint a bit more on this. Have I created lumps by stupidly pushing my forearm against this? I think it'll be okay. I'm within the 2 to 4 micron threshold still, I think. Don't forget that's the very front hairline that everyone's going to see right there. You really don't want to get glue, and I think I've magically avoided putting any glue at all in these front hairs. Really happy with that. In fact, I'd rather have missed a couple of spots where it doesn't stick down properly than try to get the glue out of those front bits. I don't like doing that. I don't really want that lump there either. Gone. Baby wipes are so useful. So yeah, I guess I've done everything that's needed so far for you to put on a hairpiece from scratch, except I didn't shave and prepare my scalp or anything. But I had a shower earlier, but still, I had a shower with the hairpiece on. I just ripped it off and just rubbed it off the glue, and you saw me pick it off, and I didn't really go that much effort. But the stubble was, I mean, I shaved my scalp obviously less than 5 days ago or something. I must have cleaned it up and put it back on. But yeah, I like this one now. This will be better. But I'm going out and I'm going to be there by about 9:30 and it's already 8:30. So I'll be giving myself a haircut and then getting an Uber or an Ola. Guy just drove off on me the other day. I said, hey, and then he turned around and yelled out something in Indian or whatever. He just sped off. But then I was running late for this thing, and then I called an Uber. They came, and they were really nice. He was Indian, very nice guy. We had a good conversation. If you ever want a job where you talk and meet people, even being a bartender, you don't get a lot of opportunity to have big conversations with people unless they're sitting at the bar and wanting to have a conversation with you. Taxi drivers, I always thought they're like the barman of the street. So being like an Uber driver is a really amazing way to have long conversations with a lot of people. Often some people will just sit, women especially, will sit in the back seat and just play with their phone the entire time as if oblivious to everything around them. I guess they don't sit there because they don't want you going like this at their legs or whatever the whole time. It's amazing how much of a woman's brain is devoted to avoiding rape. It's like, it almost seems like 90% of their lives. 90% of my life is concerned with how to fuck a girl. So, they're right. But if they were just more bonobo-like, you know, if they just wanted to have sex as much as men do, whether you're gay or straight as a male, you know you want to fuck things, right? You started with your sister's doll when you were little, rubbing against your mum when you were breastfeeding. We all do it. And then later on, you're looking through the pantry, the jam looks soft, a bit cold, so you're gonna put it in front of the heater. You burn your dick, you learn from your mistakes on the glass is the bit that gets too hot, right? Get this little fucking line on your dick and you have to peel off the scab over the next 3 weeks. Then you start thinking, okay, says oil on it, and then you learn, okay, that fucking burns. You don't just use anything from the automotive section of your dad's garage, right? There are only certain, like American pie, for example. Maybe try a pie. It's only when you just like try to steal some lubricant with the chocolates and shit you got from the grocery store that you start learning. Lubricant's much better. You don't want really something that just dries out too quickly. And then when you get a credit card or a debit card, a Visa or whatever, MasterCard, you can go online and you can secretly order, well, you don't have to do that anymore, just go delete and send, hope nobody finds out about this, and they deliver you a fleshlight. And you're like, what the fuck? All these years you've been fucking grinding your dick against the pillow, just chafing your dick, right? You tried using the shampoo. Obviously the bathroom's one of the first places you'd start. You didn't know that shampoo's gonna get down your dick hole and fucking around. It's like your dick's gonna start peeling, your balls are gonna be peeling, it's gonna fucking itch you the whole fucking day for like 4 days at least. And you go, no, it's a conditioner. But not for too long in your hands, because then they get all waterlogged and then you gotta dry it out on a towel or something for the next 10 minutes and try to use your left hand or whatever, which is, you're all clumsy and shit, right? But some people have suggested you lie on your arm for a while, put your arm to sleep, then it feels like it's somebody else's hand or whatever. But yeah, the conditioner, it's not the ultimate. You know, it makes you prune-like, right? It's good to begin with. It's better than a pillow. When you get beyond that sensitivity level, that's another threshold thing. So they're getting all around to maths again. It's a threshold of, when you feel too sensitive to start dealing with lubricants and shit. In the beginning, it's just about just rubbing against sheets and pillows and soft things. Maybe like you got a wetsuit and you fill it with clothes and pillows and fucking just socks. And then, your sister's bra is lying around or something, or some bra from somewhere you found. Somebody stayed over, they left it there. And then you can start decorating your wetsuit, which now has a pair of jugs and whatever. You keep it under your bed. Hopefully nobody looks under there with all your porn you've like ripped out of magazines and stuff. Because you didn't want to go and buy a porn magazine. You got to find one, obviously. You go into a store as a kid and go and buy fucking porn. But these days you don't need to. It's all on screens. I wonder how that industry's doing, like making magazines and stuff. The only reason you'd ever want to buy a magazine is if you're a dirty fucking bastard and you want to just go to the nearest public toilet because you can't wait and just empty your sack in a disgusting public toilet. Not the most hygienic way to pull yourself. Especially when there's always some fucking pervert staring over the top of the cubicle at you while they're jacking off. Staring at you, jacking off. So romantic if you think about it. It's how my first husband, actually. No, I'm not. Anyway, I'm gonna wait for this to dry and I'll be right back. I don't know, it's not gonna work. Now, I dropped my phone. There's a crack, another crack on the screen. I think it's going like that. It's hard to see in this light, but I felt it. It's going all the way through my face. No, that's just my face. I just cracked it with my ugliness. So this is dried, and now I'm just gonna push it down. I'm going out, I'm running late. I've got to give myself a haircut as well. Am I going to check the hairline first? No. So why not worry about it? If there's anything wrong with it, I'm not going to deal with it. It won't be noticeable if there is. The scissors, somebody told me to replace. I'm not going to replace them, they're good. They're really easy to hold. I've tried other sort of scissors and I hate using hairdressing scissors. I find them completely impractical. Has the gappage up there. I feel like there's a bit of a gap up there. In due course, I may lift that and stick it back down later on. Okay, so we're going to do 4 or 5 layers here. Layer 1. You want to go below 1.5 inches, otherwise the hair will stick up. Layer 2. Layer 3. Layer 4. Layer 5. So that line that was once at the front in that last one, and there was a lump there. It may have been due to the curling. Remember that piece of plastic that was a bit excess that I showed you that might be happening along the back there? There's a bit of curling happening, so maybe that was just folded in under there and made it stick out a bit too much. But now, clearly, straight up, like you cannot see any difference between my scalp and the beginning of that hairpiece now. I can't. Now, just because I know I'm going to have to do this later on, I'm going to get on with the diagonals. On the first layer. Layer 2. Three. I know this makes my hair a little bit straw-like, okay? I would really like to have a nice flowy type of hair product sometimes, but I know this just keeps it in place all day long. You can even wake up the next day and your hair looks quite good. Also, I get the feeling that the last hairpiece was starting to get a little bit dried out, so maybe there's something I should be doing, like using leave-in conditioner as well. Not happy with that. But let's see what I can do. few gaps at the back here. When it dries, it'll cover in. But I'm running late, so I haven't got time to do anything else with it. So, yeah, it'll dry. I'll go out like this. It'll last. All right. I'm just gonna change clothes because, like I've told you before, the rounded neck kind of looks a bit weird, and the shirt looks better when you're going out as well. I used to wear a necklace when I was younger. I have no idea what that is now. Still look like a fat ass. The phone's pretty fucked up. Like, it's not a big, giant looking crack, but I wonder if it's worth getting Apple insurance. I've got a couple of devices. Do I need Apple extra care on all of them? Because I bought both this and I think it was the last 90 days. It's got to be within 90 days, I'm pretty sure. I've lost a button on the shirt as well, so anyone can look in for that gap. Let me see what this jacket looks like. The problem with the jacket when you go out is you've got to carry it around with you all night. But it could be cold. Yeah, see, I've cut too much off here. It was working well as a kind of an overhang sort of spot. It's too short now. So I need it to grow back. In the meantime, it'll be night time, so nobody's gonna notice. I don't look bald. Do I look bald in this? No, I don't. Of course I don't.